Hi, good morning. So it is, what, the 5th?
Yes,
Yeah.
April 5th.
Yes, April the 5th. I'm wearing my rainbow socks on my arms because it's cold. You're my fantabulous 4th period class. All right, so we're factoring quadratic expressions. Earlier in this week, we talked about quadratic expressions. We looked at writing them from vertex form into standard form, and we did a couple other things with them today. We're going to be going from standard form, which looks like this, to factored form, which looks like this. This was from like our multiplying polynomials page, right? All right. Before we do that, though, we need to talk about what's a quadratic expression.
So like the ones that have the x squared.
Yeah, the ones that have like the x squared. You're not wrong. Here's our more formal definition of it. It is a polynomial. That means it has one or more terms of degree 2. That degree 2 means that the
Second
biggest
column.
exponent that you see
Is a 2.
is a 2. Okay? That's it. That's all you need to know. We don't care what the coefficients are. We don't care if there's 1 term, 2 terms, 3 terms. No one cares as long as the biggest exponent you see is a 2. All right. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Someone who hasn't said anything, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Someone else?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Someone else?
Yes.
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 Yes. Someone else? Good. Someone else?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
'cause
The
it has
2
a
isn't the
3
second, the
degrees
biggest
behind it.
degree.
It has a 3. 3 is bigger than 2. In
By
order to be
one.
quadratic, the 2 has to be the biggest one. And because I have this exponent 3, which is bigger than 2, this one doesn't work.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Good. You guys are very good at figuring out what quadratics are. Nicely done. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to kick you. Now, we are going to factor. That is, we're going to change this trinomial thing into the stuff you have to multiply together to end up with this. Some of you may be very good at being able to factor and can look at this and be like, the answer is this.
Not me. Oh, so that's what this is? Oh, okay.
It is, well, we're going to check. Let's confirm. Let's distribute this out. And if we get to what I had written down originally to factor, then I did whatever magic in my brain that I did to come up with these numbers. I did it right. Okay. X times X is
X squared.
X squared.
so far. So far, so good.
Yeah.
4 times X is.
4x.
I heard a lot of you going, oh, this is. Did you do this in your heads?
Yeah.
I did it on paper.
Oh, you scribbled it on paper. Okay, that's fine.
I did it on my head. In my head.
No? I scribbled too. That's okay. So this was the first thing that you did, right?
Yes.
And then you
Just added the like.
added the like terms. And when we're done, all right. That's an answer. But I did something in my head. And the only reason why I can do it in my head that quickly is not because I'm smarter than you guys, because that's not true. I'm pretty dumb. But because I learned this technique that really isn't all that hard. And I've practiced it a lot. So it looks like I'm super, super smart and I have magical like number powers. And I don't, because I can't even balance my checkbook. You laugh, it's true. The last time I had to do it, we bounced so many things and our electricity got turned off.
Oh
Oh my gosh,
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. So let me show you that technique, okay?
Yes.
All right. The technique starts with figuring out a number A and a number C. That is the first term's coefficient and the last term's coefficient. I don't have a number out here in front of the x squared, so I should put a
1.
1. I'm going to take those two numbers and I'm going to multiply them together. A times C is
AC.
You're not wrong. The number for A is a 1, the number from C is a 12. 12. Good. You weren't wrong by saying A times C is AC. I love that answer.
Who said 13?
Me.
That's okay. You added instead of multiplied. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. All right, now we're going to list all the numbers, the pairs of numbers that we have to multiply together in order to get to 12. 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4, 4 times 3, but that's the same as 3 times 4, so I don't need to write it. Negatives count. A negative times a negative is a positive. Multiplication only. From here, now that we've listed all of them, this is like our menu. Now we get to choose one of these things to make work. Thing is there's really only a few choices that can be made. In order to know which choice we want to make, we're going to add these numbers together. And what we're looking for is for the results to be this value, B. So the third one, it's 3 plus 4. We've done the hard part. That's the hard part. That's the hard part. Now that I know these two numbers, I'm going to replace this 7 with those two numbers. And then I'm going to write down the rest of the thing that I'm supposed to factor. All right, now that I've written that, the next thing to do is to set it up so that I can continue factoring. I'm going to do that by writing groups. I'm going to write two groups. Groups are represented by parentheses. And between the two groups, I'm writing a plus sign. I'm writing a plus sign because I must write a plus sign, not because this has a plus sign right there. Okay? It is a plus sign because it has to be. All right, now that I have written my groups, I'm going to fill them. These two things in this group, these two things in this group. Again, not hard, right?
Yes. Oh, because I was saying like, no, it's not hard.
Yeah, no, it's not hard. All right, here's the next hard part. We're about to come to it. I need to write down for each one of these little terms, I have to write down the things that multiply together to give me them. Okay? To get to x squared, I multiply.
X and X.
And to get to 3x, I need to multiply.
1 and 3.
3 times x.
Oh, that's an, oh, never mind. Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. I'm going to turn on the little light here so we can see a little better. All right, I'm not going to do this other group yet. I'm going to just focus on this one. Now that I have those written, I am going to circle the stuff that's the same from one little pile of stuff I'm multiplying to the other. The x is what's the same in both of those piles, and so I'm going to put it right here. And then I'm going to open up a new little bucket, and in that bucket, I am going to write the stuff that they did not have in common. And then I'm going to write the plus sign because it falls down. I'm going to play my game again, but with the last group. 4 times what gives me 4x?
4X.
And what times what gives me 12?
2, 3, and 4.
All of these will do it.
Yeah.
And so once again, we're faced with making a choice. Which choice is the best choice?
1 and 12.
Well, the one we already used, we're going to just use again. I found so far that that's the easiest way to make that decision without worrying. Okay? So if I used a pair already, I'm going to use it again. Okay? So I just reused. Circle what they have in common. In this case, it's the 4, and I'm going to write it here. And then I'm going to open up another bucket, inside of which I'm going to write the stuff that they did not have in common.
This one's an X, right?
It is supposed to be an X. I don't know why I wrote a plus there,
It's
because
a Pokemon.
it's a Pokemon.
But it's not gonna be circled the.
Because they're the same?
So they have a pair, it goes on the outside.
Just the single. Yeah. Now that I have it like this, I'm going to play the game again. I'm going to look at both of these terms and I'm asking myself, what do they have in common? They both have, as a group, x plus 3. And so I'm going to write that here in the parentheses because it's a group. Then I'm going to open up another bucket.
What about the plus sign?
Oh, I love that question. What about this plus sign right here? There isn't one anymore. I love that question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we've put what they have in common, and right next to it, we've opened up another bucket. In here is going to go the things that they did not have in common.
I don't like factoring now.
Miss, you thought of all this in your mind?
Yes.
Really?
I like
Yeah. There's going to feel there's some divisions happening in there. It's very tempting for you to do this much right here and immediately jump to the shortcut and write the answer down. Okay? Especially if you were already shown a technique and it goes way faster than this. You're going to want, especially if you, with very little writing, you can just go to the answer. Okay? That this feels like this is way too complicated. I'm urging you not to use the shortcut right now. I'm begging you, please take the long way. Practice all these little steps because on Monday, what I'm going to do to you guys on Monday is that. Notice the A is no longer a 1. Story time while you stare at this. When I first learned how to do this factoring thing, I got taught just like you are now, separate days. This was on one day, this was on another. I got shown likely the exact same shortcut that you're using in your heads to go from something like this straight to the answer without any of this scribble mess that I just wrote for you. Okay? And that was hard for me because I wasn't quite sure where they were getting these numbers, but I kind of sort of figured it out and I scraped by and it was okay. And then they did this and they said, it's the exact same thing. Look, blah, 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 and they got an answer and I went, what? It's not the same thing because when I tried it, going from here straight to an answer, I kept getting the answers wrong. The shortcut breaks the moment A is not 1. I hate teaching you how to do a shortcut if I change one thing about the setup, it breaks. So I'm urging you, practice all of these long steps on things that you can very quickly with your shortcut get to an answer for many of you, okay? So that you know you've done all these little tiny steps in here correctly. Because on Monday, we're going to do the exact same thing, but now A is not 1. And I will show you that using these exact same steps, bless you, with the same amount of hard thinking, which there wasn't much of, you get to the correct answer. Okay? All right. Fair? Is that okay? Okay. Trying really hard to convince you to go through all of that. For me, please. Let's practice number 4. This looks weird, right? Put it in order. If you get something that looks scrambled, first thing to do is put it in order. Highest term first, highest degree term first, and then everything else in order. Now I can easily see which value is my A and which value is my C. Again, I don't have a number, so A is 1. What is the value of this A times this C?
15.
Negative 15. And now I'm looking for factor pairs of negative 15. 1 and negative 15. Negative 1 and positive 15.
Negative.
Negative 3 and 5.
Positive 5.
Beautiful. Now I want to know which one of these, when added together, give me a negative 8. Negative 8, because that's what I was given as B.
Negative 5. Negative 5 plus 5.
Negative 3, negative 5 plus positive 3?
Or negative
Oh.
Yeah, that one doesn't work. This is actually a negative 2.
Oh, okay, so then negative 3 plus 5.
Negative 3 plus 5?
I don't
No,
know.
no,
Nope, that's a 2. These don't work either because these are the 14s, positive and...
It's impossible.
Yeah, the question was, what do I do? And the comment back there was, it's impossible.
No.
None of these work. And because none of these work, this thing is not factorable.
Whoops.
We can define an answer to this later. We just have to show you something called non-real numbers to do it. Remember at the beginning of the year we talked about real numbers? And like everything we've done was real numbers. We did whole numbers and we did integers and we did rationals and we did irrationals. And these are all real numbers. And I had one person here go, so if we have real numbers, does that mean we have non-real numbers? Do you remember that?
Yes.
And I went, you're right. We do have non-real numbers. We'll talk about those later. And then I moved on.
Was this a later?
Hi, the later's coming up. Like next week.
Oh.
Like really soon next week. It's coming up. Okay? So not factorable, but maybe still solvable. We just have to extend our numbers. Okay? Here's one more example. Do you want to see this one, or are you pretty happy with where we're at? I got some thumbs up. Thumbs up.
What?
I just want to check. Do you want to do another example, or are you happy with this? Happy, 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 happy. I'll sit with you. Chill. I got you, boo. All right. Thank you very much.